with Eric Mangini. Coach, there are three certainties in life: death, taxes, and Jerry Jones's love for Dak Prescott. Boom.
If Jenna doesn't get a laugh now, she's just going to slam the table. That's her new philosophy on her jokes.
Despite, as not a joke, despite an up-and-down season for the third-year quarterback, Jerry is sticking with Dak Prescott. He said in a
At least for now. I think there might be an affair later on.
What?
I see an affair in his future.
Dak is the quarterback of the Dallas Cowboys. He's young, and he's going to get extended. That's what Jerry Jones said. He also went on to say what bothers him about this season is the way the team has played, not necessarily its personnel. Coach, what do you think of Jerry's long-term commitment to his quarterback, Dak Prescott?
Well, there's a saying that where you stand depends on where you sit, and if you sit in the personnel chair, then personnel looks pretty good. You know, the players always look good, and you can look at any
records.
You can look at any organization. Whoever has the power, that's usually what's talked about. So if a GM has the power, the players are pretty good. They're not getting coached up as well as they should have. And you look at Dallas; they had a massive overhaul in the assistant coaches. Midway through the season, they paid this offensive line a lot of money. They get rid of the offensive line coach. So if you're standing, you know, behind the personnel, and that's where your seat is, then that's what you're going to support. And it's vice versa. If you're the coach and you have the power, then you need to get better players. We saw it in Cleveland, right, with Hugh Jackson. Need to get better players. Need to get better players. So that's the narrative. Now, to me, the successful organizations are the ones that have honesty, the ones that can have constructive conflict, the ones where you can argue about players or personnel and get to the right answer. Because at the end of the day, it doesn't matter who's right. It just matters that you get to the right answer, however that happens. And it's hard when you own the team to ever engage in that type of constructive conflict, because at the end of the day, you've got final say. So whatever you want is what you're going to get. And you also control everybody's salary. You control everybody's livelihood. So the pushback by people is not going to be as great as if you were just dealing with a normal GM head coach dynamic.
Coach, you saying that situation in Dallas is hard. I might say that it's impossible. Maybe it's impossible for Jerry to be able to change what he's doing at this stage of his life. Do you believe that he's going to continue operating this way? Is this going to be the way he's going to continue until he leaves the Cowboys?
It's tough to say. One of the things that I appreciated the most, and as a head coach, is someone who would tell me the truth. And we all have friends who, when you go out to dinner, if you have a little spinach in your teeth, they tell you because they're your friend. Then you have those other ones that won't say anything and let you walk around with it. You need those friends that will be honest with you, because the only way that you have a chance to get better is by getting that honesty. Now, when you own the team and when you control everybody's life, it's harder for people to be as honest. So he's going to have to not only accept that, but almost demand that, or find someone that can give him that, because it's the best thing. It's the best thing is to have someone that checks your power.
I want to talk about Dak, but Jenna, you got poppy seed in your tooth. I've been there for an hour. And so
he's a good friend.
A good friend would have told you an hour.
Yeah, I let you just sit there.
And because you don't have poppy seeds.
Yeah, I'm just like, yes. So the question, though, we're talking about if Dak's going to be extended, right? And if Dak, whether or not, to use what has become one of the catchphrases of this show that Coach came up with, is Dak a force multiplier? So I have a handy chart, and I just want to know where we think Dak fits on this chart. I call it the Matt Ryan line. Matt Ryan and above, those are quarterbacks I do not mind giving extensions to. All of those guys, I think if they take up the salary cap space of 3 players, they can make up the difference, Matt Ryan included. Everybody below, I either don't know yet, or I have serious reservations, or I know cannot. My concern for the Cowboys, we can leave that there for a moment, is that I know where Dak is on that. There ain't a face above Matt Ryan he's better than. There's a lot of faces below Matt Ryan he's playing worse than. I didn't include anyone on a rookie salary scale like any of the rookie quarterbacks. I don't want to give Coach a heart attack having Pat Mahomes up there.
Can we just look at this chart for a second?
Yes, sure.
Where would Manning have fit after he won his second Super Bowl? Where was Jimmy Garoppolo last year after he won 5 games? Or where would he have been on your line?
Jimmy Garoppolo, by the way, this was made before the season, so Jimmy Garoppolo is not being injured by this year. And the Manning,
Derek Carr coming off his borderline MVP season.
This was made going into the year. Going into the year, I made this. This is not from today.
With a lot of post,
Can you hear what Coach
prior to, when you got all the information. See, line here.
Sure.
I would have drafted Tom Brady in the first round, #1 overall. Got it. And I knew that at the time.
Got it. And I would have given Dak Prescott the extension after year 1. That would have been foolish.
Yes.
But we now have this information. Jerry's been watching the games. And so my question to you is, which is on the Jerry point, I understand your point, which is what I would do doesn't matter because Jerry's the one in charge. But if Jerry weren't in charge, if you were brought in to be the head of the Dallas Cowboys, is there any chance you give Dak the $20+ million extension this offseason?
Well, obviously, I have a lot more information. Part of being a quarterback, too, is what they do in the room, what they do during practice, how they make other people better. You heard about Josh Gordon going to New England and having the seat next to Tom Brady. That was calculated so he could help develop him and get him better quickly. Now, is Dak doing those things? Is he the 13-3 quarterback, or is he the quarterback that struggled lately? How big was the loss of Jason Witten? How strongly do you feel that this system really is the most effective system for him? So those questions I can't give you an answer to, but you have to be objective. I think sometimes when I watch my kids play sports, I watch it with a little bit of a softer lens because they're my kids. So if you brought in Dak Prescott, you may be viewing him with a little bit of softer lens.
I just don't believe that you give him an extension until you're forced to. And Jerry, he makes missteps, especially from a communication standpoint. He thinks he's a great communicator. That's why you sign up when you're a billionaire to do a weekly radio show. Billionaires don't sign up to do things that they don't do well, or they're in such a bad spot as their reality, they think they do it well. And they got people around them that won't tell them the truth. So he thinks he's a great communicator. He did not help the Dallas Cowboys by saying Dak was going to get extended. What Coach Mangini would have done was, I'm not going to say that until I have to. And then I'm going to still need a little more information. So Jerry's not helping his team by saying Dak's going to be extended.
But maybe he didn't help his team, but he was trying to help Dak Prescott, which leads to your point, which is you spoke to Ed Werder, who said he was doing
made the point yesterday that he doesn't think Jerry is planning on giving an extension this offseason. What he was trying to do was give a quarterback who's being attacked on all sides a vote of confidence. That he thinks Dak's having a crisis of confidence, so he wanted to give him a public vote of confidence, see if that helps him turn this season around.
Yeah, I just don't know very many great athletes who suddenly change the way they perform because an owner gives them a vote of confidence. And look, once you give a coach a vote of confidence, that's typically the kiss of death. Like once you get that, you know that it's dead man walking. So I don't know if that. I get it. You want to make him feel good about his situation, but I don't think that's going to really move the dial.
All right, Coach, we'll see you a little bit later on the show. We got to take a break. Coming up, Des Bryant. Can he be the X factor that brings the New Orleans Saints